Daniel Thomas Todd, 31-year-old from Westmoreland, Jamaica. Didn't enjoy it. Your face looks like you weren't so pleased with your result. Tell us a bit about what happened out there.
I mean, it's been a tough couple of weeks. You know, the qualification is something that is definitely within my reach. However, you know, it's been very frustrating to every time come to these major Olympic Games and, you know, not making the finals. And, you know, this time around it was definitely something that I felt like was easy for me to do. However, I didn't have my coach here. I've been in the village for 2.5 weeks. And I was denied the privilege of having a coach's pass for my coach to even be at the training facilities for 2.5 weeks. So you're talking about 365 days of training just gone down the drain because I didn't have my coach for 2.5 weeks while being here. So it is definitely very frustrating, you know, and it's I think it's something that I definitely have to sit and reflect on and moving forward as to, you know, what will be definitely best for me and my mental health, because I cannot do this anymore. It's very frustrating dealing with JOA and JAAA because these people don't care about field events in Jamaica. And if they did, they would make sure that we have everything we need to make us comfortable, because my coach is not just a part of my training process. You know, he's a very crucial part of my warm-up and getting ready for preparations, and I didn't have him for 2.5 weeks.
When me say JOA and JAA need to dash away, I mean they need to be thrown away. Start from scratch. And I'm not just going to come here with problems. I'm definitely bringing solutions. So let's get into it because I'm tired of seeing this. The unfortunate but not entirely surprising JAA and JOA conflict, which has played out in a very public way at the 33rd Olympiad, has resulted in Team Jamaica losing face at the Games. There was a conflict between JOA and JAA. There is distance between JAA and its key stakeholders, the athletes. The track and field coaching community and the JAA are constantly at loggerheads. Perhaps the airing of these issues on an international stage will bring the kind of attention necessary to bring out a much needed addressing of these issues and pave the way for a reasonable resolution. So let's get into the nitty-gritty. Who is responsible for what and for do what? The JAA is the national body responsible for track and field and responsible for world athletics, the governing body. The JOA is the local body who is responsible for the Olympic sports, serving as the umbrella organization, International Olympic Committee, and that's IOC. Although the JOA lacks autonomy over any national sporting body, it serves as a guide for the IOC responsibility in staging international competition. It seems therefore that the role of the JOA is more like that of a liaison officer, as no national sporting body is subject to it. Despite the establishment of certain norms and expectations over the years, a conflict between the organization may stem from this lack of autonomy. For instance, when individuals serve in both organizations, it can easily lead to a conflict of interest. There was a time when the incumbent JAA president was a JOA director. Some even suggest that Garth Gale, the JAA president, play a pivotal role in the JOA incumbent president Christopher Samuda's initial election campaign, and subsequently Gale walked away from the JOA while remaining the head of the JAA without inputting cause. There is little doubt that the relationship between these two significant sporting bodies has not been the same since. This is an example of nepotism, and if you don't know what nepotism is when friend and friend know them one another, they don't follow the rules, laws, and regulations, and they just get their friend to be put in positions of power. It don't matter if they have the requirements. It don't matter if they know the knowledge. It don't matter if they have the capabilities. It don't matter if they go to school for this stuff. They just know somebody that knows somebody, and they put them in a position of power. And I just know, a week before Paris, prior to Paris, word began circulating that the JAA was unable to select all the officials they considered necessary for proper team management during the games. Recent information emerging from Paris suggests that the IOC rulebook permits 15 personal coaches, and the JOA is accused of restricting that number down to 9. 9. Although athletes would have preferred to have their personal coaches at the game, the restriction prevented that, which is what our shot putter, Danielle Todd, was talking about. And no one can blame her for speaking out. Without passing judgment on the situation, the conflict has affected performance, and the athletes are not to be blamed. Sometimes those individuals in sport administration come to believe that they are the key players. This results in administrators misinterpreting their roles. The impact manifests itself on the field, and the blame often falls on athletes, as the general public may not understand that the real breakdown occurs within and between administration. What of the distance between JAA is the key stakeholders? The seemingly inability to select teams for recent world relays, the Olympics, are clear signs of strained relations between the organization and the athletes. For instance, World Relays in Bahamas, the JAA was unable to select a team of choice, not because of injuries, but because many athletes did not make themselves available. Jamaica, not having qualified for the 4x400 relays at the Olympics, made adjustment to schedule of the national championship in order to allow for the top 400 meters to be available for a last chance to qualify in a runoff on the last day of the trials. This involved reducing the number of races for the key players and having the finals of the 400-meter run on Friday evening, thus allowing for the top 3 finishers to have all of Saturday to rest before the runoff on Sunday. Again, not one of the 3 top finishers were available for the runoff when Sunday came, which resulted in Jamaica failing to team for the men's 4x400 relay at the Olympic Games for the second time in our history. And I would never out of my mouth blame those top 3 400-meter runners that are men for us not making the Olympics and them not making themselves available. We don't know what's going on with them. We don't know what's going on with their coaches. We don't know what's going on in their life. And I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, because 99.99% of the time that we have seen in Jamaica's history in sports, it was never the athletes. It was more having to do with JAA and JOA. Track and field is by far the most successful sporting discipline for Jamaica at the international level. Over the years, this small under-resourced island has battled its way into track and field supremacy and is now the country to contend with. And so it's quite unfortunate that the JAA and JOA have allowed petty squabbles and personality to tarnish our good name. Additionally, it's unacceptable for the JAA to run an office with understaffed employees, some of who are clearly incapable and underqualified to perform critical tasks required to uphold and further develop this legacy. So the question now becomes, how do we resolve glaring issues between the JOA, JAA, athletes, coaches that are threatened? I have 8 simple ways that this can be fixed. Communication. Communication is the most vital aspect of managing a team of this caliber. Coordinating and facilitating communication between the administrative body, coaches, and players is such a fundamental and mandate of the JAA, but for some reason has proven to be the weakest area of the JAA operations. The second one, the JOA as a semblance of professional outfit, but transparency is not the natural order based on observations from a distance. If the JOA is successfully fulfilled in its commitment to support the development of high performances in athletics, it has to find ways to overcome this seemingly lack of transparency. And there needs to be an umbrella body. I'm advocating for an umbrella body that is responsible for marshalling all critical parties, both the JAA and the JOA. There needs to be someone that they have to talk to. There needs to be someone that's higher than them. There needs to be someone that they are required by law to actually say what they're doing, how they're doing it, how much money is needed, where the money is going. There needs to be somebody that's above both these bodies in Jamaica. Them need to have a boss. Establish standards for track and field clubs. The advent of track and field clubs has a remarkable impact on the track and field scene. These came in circumstances whereas so many of our boys and girls champs standouts were not transitioning after taking traditional track to North American universities. As good as this has been, it has happened in somewhat unstructured manner and requires established standards in order to ensure full protection of our athletes. Local universities should play greater roles in athletes' development. Universities are well placed to nurture athletes, build technical and support expertise for national teams, provide world-class training facilities, and such local universities can and should establish more and better opportunities for continuous scholastic and athletic development, especially those who prefer to hone on their talents at home. Beyond marketing props, corporate Jamaica should invest in athletes. Corporate Jamaica is lacking in terms of substantive investment in athletes outside of brand ambassadorship and the need to take a page from their international counterparts who over the years have found creative and mutually beneficial ways to profit from their involvement in sports development. The preceding suggestions are by no means exhaustive, but one hopes that they can spur further discussions and ultimately act as a catalyst to maximizing our real potential in track and field. And with that being said, I'm going to end this video here. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Leave your comments in the comment section below and tell me what are your thoughts. What do you think needs to be done for the JAA and the JOA and for our athletes? I'm going to leave this video by letting Coach Mills talk about this Olympics. Deuces.
I have been to 9 Olympics. It is a disgrace that you have to be fighting to get the required number of coaches, the required number of therapists and doctors to go with an Olympic team that is probably rated number 2 or 3 in the world. Now, if it is forced that I recognize the necessity for other coaches who have numerous athletes, etc. I could have gone to the Olympics with other countries. I was offered two accreditation, full funding, everything. But I could never see myself wearing another country. But if I am forced to, I would have to. It's a disgrace that the Olympic Association is denying track and field the benefit of the required numbers. 17 persons for a team of 65 to 70 is totally inadequate. I know that. I have been there. I have done that. I have done at least 6 or 7 Olympics as a technical director and coach. I know what it is to go there and work with so many different events and so many responsibilities. I cannot see why the numbers is a problem. With due respect to the other sports, none of them have qualified to say you are struggling with numbers. Track and field should be given its due. They have earned it, and from the sacrifices of all the coaches, athletes, from the days of Herb McKinley back to now, they must be turning in their graves. This has never happened in the history of Jamaican track and field. Never. And nobody should be allowed to hold the sport to ransom and should be allowed to get away with it. You are struggling for finances when sponsors have put up over $200 million towards this Olympics, and the association is saying that they have not gotten $1 to help with the preparation. And I'm sure that the travel where you will have to be seeking the cheapest ticket to go all over the world to end up in Paris. Those things have got to stop. When an athlete takes the plane and go into America and then go somewhere in Europe and then on to the destination, that cannot work. They get there, they're tired. You understand? So I have made arrangements because there's no way public can travel like what happened in previous years. We have made arrangements for them to travel to London and to Europe. That's the shortest way. You understand? And there is the money is there. The Jamaica needs to know that the per diem for the athlete is, for the Olympics, is 25 US per day.
40. It's not 40.
That will increase to 40 now.
But still small.
It's still below. But the last Olympics it was that.
You are correct.
You understand? Whatever it takes, Mr. President and Mr. Manager, we need to demand that we get the numbers and the treatment that we deserve. It is time we stop track and we stop getting mud in the face.